Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is Bad Brad, and today it is time for another Tour Tales and Gig Fails Nashville edition. Okay, now this story that you're about to hear today is one of the wildest stories in all of my time in Nashville. It starts with a band that I was playing with at the time called Eddie Gore's Soiree. And it was a blues R&B type band. You know, half the band was white, half the band was black. And we just would get together and play these, classic funk tunes and jam, and everybody would get to solo. And we had a regular gig at a place called Third and Lindsley. Now, Third and Lindsley is known here for the Time Jumpers and all the great shows that they put on there. But this is in the early days of Third and Lindsley, and it was smaller then. It was more intimate. It had a little stage in the corner, just about literally like that high off the ground, and it was just such a great place to play. That's where the Wooten brothers for a long time had their Wednesday night residency. And we used to play on Thursdays, and we did like a happy hour gig. So I think we played from maybe 5:30 or 6 o'clock till probably 8:30, something like that. So we're playing this gig, it's another, Thursday night. I had a job working on Music Row at a little startup label, and then we would go play our gig. So we're playing the gig, and we would always have this guy, John Cheek, who was kind of like a Joe Cocker, but he was from the Cheekwood family. If you know Nashville, there's a place called Cheekwood, and it's a famous place. It's this mansion. This family, they came from extreme wealth. And they have this beautiful garden and museum that you can go and see. Cheekwood is a must-see. But John Cheek would always come out and do a Joe Cocker tune or a blues song with us. And he literally was. He was like Joe Cocker. And, it was one of those things like, look, we need to fill out the club. John Cheek's a cool guy. He sounds cool. Get John Cheek to come out and sing. We'll do this, we'll do that. Hopefully we get a good crowd tonight. That type of thing. So we're playing the gig, and at some point I come off on break, and John Cheek is sitting at a table, or he comes over to me. I'm at the bar getting a beer or something, and he comes over to me and says, "Hey man, this girl wants to meet you, and she's a model." And I'm like, okay, whatever, So I go over to the table, and this girl's sitting there, and she's got kind of a short, kind of reddish, I would say it's like a Southern Bob back in the day. It's almost like a Karen haircut, but she's sitting there, and I say hi and I shake her hand or whatever. And, it's kind of, we go back and we play, we finish out the night. I guess somehow they had said, "Hey, can you give her a ride home?" And I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I can. We were done early, and, I had this Toyota 4-wheel drive pickup truck, and with jacked up tires, and so I go, okay, I'll give her a ride. And so at this point, this girl has probably said no more than 2 or 3 words to me, so I don't even know who I'm dealing with here. But I was a little short on gas, and the gig, I think, paid maybe $35. So I'm like, hey, I got to get some gas. So I'm getting gas. And I see it's this liquor store, or not a liquor store, but a convenience store. And I see, she goes, "I'm going to go inside." I said, okay. So I look out of the corner of my eye, and I see her going to the counter with a box of condoms and a 12-pack. And I'm like, I barely even had any conversation with this girl. I don't know, what is going on. I think I'm just going to give her a ride home. maybe hang out for a minute and leave. So at this point, I know, okay, something's up. So we get back to her place. She invites me inside, and I go inside, and immediately I'm like, oh, okay, let me have a beer, because it's after my gig. You're all wound up from playing the gig, and it was normal back in those days that you'd knock back a few beers, after the gig, just to try to wind down. So I'm trying to have a beer. I want to find out who this person is. And she briefly mentions like her ex-boyfriend or something, and he's some karate guy, and all this. And I'm like, look, I don't want to be involved in some, nonsense. I said, oh, no, it's cool. It's cool. You need to take a shower. And I'm like, what? I said, I'm just trying to have a beer. Like, let me chill. No, you need to get in the shower. I'm not, and again, I was like, look, I just want to have a beer. Like, chill out. And she kept pressing me. You need to get in the shower. So, it's almost at that point, you're like, well, I mean, do I stink? Like, what? And so I go to get in the shower. She's like, here's the shower. And I go to get in the shower, and she comes in and she opens up the shower curtain. She's like, I've always wanted to wash your hair. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm a little bit, in some ways it's a little arousing because I'm in this shower and I had long hair. I mean, I looked like Renegade, on the TV show, Lorenzo Lamas or something. I had like this really long hair. So she puts shampoo in her hands and she starts washing my hair. And I'm like, this is bizarre, but like, I don't know, like, what is going on? So she washes my hair. I'm like, okay, you washed my hair. Let me get the soap off and I'll come out. So I get out of the shower and I look off to the corner and I see her disrobing. And she had on her underwear, but I look at her and I go, this girl is no model. Like, it's just not, no offense, but I'm like, none of this makes sense. And this person is crazy. And all I wanted to do was have a beer after the show. I don't know who this person is. I'm not about to just, do whatever. And so I'm like, how do I get out of here? And I'm thinking fast. And like I said, I saw her out of the corner of my eye, and I'm just like, no, I'm not going there. And she's a liar, if anything, because she's definitely not a model, and not even a plus size model, just not, no. So I'm like, what do I do? So then I get the bright idea, get her in the shower. My clothes were in a pile. I was wearing snakeskin cowboy boots, jeans, and I think one of those black satin, like button-down shirts. And I say, hey, now you need to get it in the shower. I want to wash your hair. And I made it like it was a thing. So I get her in the shower, and I'm still completely naked. I get her in the shower, and I get tons of shampoo in my hands. And I dump the shampoo in her hair, and I get it all lather up. And then I said, okay, get the soap out, and I'll see you in a little bit. And so I closed the curtain, and I grabbed my clothes and my boots. And we're in Green Hills. We're in one of those condos right off the main drag in Green Hills, which is the high-end, fancy dancy area of Nashville. And I grab my clothes and I run out the front door of the condo completely naked to escape. And I jump in my truck and I drive all the way back over to East Nashville completely nude. And I'm like, I escaped. Look, when you're a musician, I think we're almost like we're dancers or strippers. Women think that you're just, you're just up for grabs, just like men think a dancer or a stripper is just up for grabs and just, oh, come with me. And, and I don't even understand like what was going on and what was this. I've always wanted to wash your hair. I just met you tonight. So I get in the house. I put on my clothes in the truck, and I go in the house, and my roommates were probably home, and I crack open a beer, and this is like probably like 1996. I turn on my computer, and I'm playing Minesweeper or whatever it is, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, whew, dodged a bullet. Like, man, thank God I got out of there. All of a sudden, the phone rings, and I pick up the phone, and I go, hello? And the first thing I hear is, why did you leave? And I'm like, oh my God, I did not give this girl my last name. I did not give her my phone number. I mean, I barely even had a conversation with this person. She knew my last name, and she had looked up my phone number in the phone book or called. Back then, you had to call information and ask, I'm looking for this person. Here's the number we have. And so what do you say at that point? Why did you leave? And I just said, look, things were advancing very fast, too fast for me. Ultimately said things were moving too fast. And I think I just needed to take a step back. And she's like, okay. But I said, I'll see you again. I'll see you. And I hung up the phone, but my mind was completely blown. I'm just like, oh my God, what a crazy nut job. Thank God I got out of there. Who knows if her boyfriend or whatever was going to come busting through the door, the Mr. Karate guy. I don't even know. But prologue to this story, I was out maybe a few weeks later at a place called The Boundary, which was one of the trendier little, cocktail spots in Midtown. And I see the girl, and she was with, at the time, the backup quarterback. I believe it was the backup quarterback for the Nashville Cats, which was a local, what do they call it, arena football team. And she was with him, and I just kind of, and I was like, oh my God. And I kind of just turned my head and got the hell out of there. It's one of the wildest stories that I've ever experienced in all of my time in Nashville. And this was in the early days of Nashville, when Nashville, was not so big and not such a huge tourist destination. But it's one of the wildest things that ever happened to me in my time in Nashville. If you'd enjoyed this story, please click like and subscribe. If you want more Tales from the Road, let me know in the comments. And if you have any crazy stories like this, I'd love to hear them in the comments as well. As musicians, we're put in a position where performers, sometimes people see us and have plans that we are not aware of. I'd be interested to hear your stories. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to help this channel out, hit the Amazon link or the Sweetwater link. Anything you purchase will help this channel greatly. Thanks for watching. I'm Bad Brad, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.